Okay, we're now live. So welcome everybody to the second session of the first part of the 2020. Sorry, I'm just going to. So the second session of the first part of the 2020 Connected Mobility Hub investor event. So for those of you that didn't see the first session, which was last week on Wednesday, you can see it on YouTube. Andrea in a second is going to upload the links in the comments so that you can see it there. And for those of you that want to join in the rest of the sessions, we'll be doing another session on the 21st at 12 o'clock and another session on the 28th at 12 o'clock. And then for those investors that are watching this, on the 3rd of September, we're doing an online networking event and one-to-one meetings. So between, just before lunch, we're going to be doing investor-to-investor networking. And just after lunch, we're going to be doing one-to-one meetings with the startup. So there's a link to sign up, I think, in the post. If not, I'll check afterwards and I'll add it into the post. Form for you to sign up for that networking event. So I'm not gonna give a very long explanation of what we do at the hub, because I did it last week, and most of you that are connected will already know what we do. But I am just going to share one slide. Okay, so basically, the hub is an association of startups. I think it will start working in a second. My computer's going slightly slowly at the moment. Basically, the hub is an association of smart mobility startups from. No. Oh God. Now it's doing something that it shouldn't be. So I'll do it in audio. The hub is an association of smart mobility startups from across Europe. We set it up, I think it was 5 years ago now, we basically do four things. So there's a team of, well, I'll show at the end. There's a team of about 6 of us, and we basically do these four things. So we help with visibility. That basically means that we have a blog that's focused on connected mobility, and we support a number of events. In terms of their startup and their innovation phase and their smart mobility section within the event. We also help with a community, so that can be within the startups themselves. So there's a grouping of, there's a WhatsApp group and a Slack group. WhatsApp gets slightly more usage than the Slack group, but there are both groups where we're sharing information and sharing ideas on a continual basis. And also we work to include the public administration, town halls. We've been doing a manifesto for Madrid in terms of, okay, what's the future of mobility? How should mobility look for the city in the future? We've 2 of us have been on the jury of the EU Startup Prize for Mobility, where 550 smart mobility startups from across Europe signed up for this year's prize, and we were evaluating them. So generally, we help to connect different players within the ecosystem. Open innovation is specific to, obviously, corporates. So what we do there is we help with sort of scouting and I guess screening of solutions for different corporates. We have about 75 different projects that we've been supporting over the last couple of years. That was something that didn't start at the very beginning. And investment. So investment, we have a community that we have currently on Startup Includer. It doesn't quite get enough movement on it. So we're thinking of moving to something that's a little bit more simple. But we have an investment community of about 300 investors, of which there's 125 on Startup included that have access to all the decks. The associated startups within the association upload. And then on an annual basis, we do this investor event, and I think we're doing one, it's not quite yet finalized, but we're doing one in Barcelona in November as part of the Smart City Congress. So anyway, within that, this year, our annual event is completely online for obvious reasons, and so what we've been doing and what we've done one of, and we're going to do another 3 of, is online pitching sessions. So last week we did logistics and autonomous vehicles. This week we're doing shared mobility, and then we've got smart city, sustainable mobility, and electric mobility in the next 2 weeks on the 28th of July at 12 o'clock. And then, as I said, for those of you, I can see there's slightly more people connected now. For those of you that weren't connected at the beginning, on the 3rd of September, we do a online networking event where just before lunch, we'll be doing investor to investor. But that for us is very important, that we help promote co-investment and collaboration between the investment community. And that includes corporates, so it's corporates and financial investors. And late after lunch, we'll be doing the one-to-one meetings with the startup. So the idea is that during August, the investors get to look at the decks, they see the pitches again, they get a bit of a feel for whether they'd be interested or not potentially in investing in the company. And then in 3rd of September, when they do the one-to-one meetings, we're hoping that things can get closed down. So anyway, that's enough from me. You're not here to see me. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to bring Nathan on screen. Hi, Nathan.
Hi, Tom. How are you?
And very well, thank you. And what I'm going to do, so I'm going to add in Nathan's screen, which you can see here. So if you can put the presentation on the screen, brilliant. And I'm going to give you 5 minutes, Nathan. Then you're going to see me reappear on screen. And then we're going to give up to 5 minutes for questions. If there aren't that many questions, well, I'm going to get rid of you sooner. And if there are, well, then we'll carry on. Well, just to those of you, there does tend to be a slight lag in the streaming times. So sometimes questions arrive a little bit later than when I've actually taken Nathan off screen, the question arrives to us. So what I will do is I'll bring all of the startups back on screen at the end for 5 minutes, and we'll go through any questions that have been received during the period that haven't been answered, and any other questions that people want to make at the end. Okay, so Nathan, without more ado, it's all yours.
Fantastic. So thank you very much, Tom. Hello, everyone. I am Nathan Luke, the CEO of Whoo Carpool. We are the leaders of urban carpooling in Madrid. Hoops was born because we identify a problem that is practically common to every big cities of the world. No? That is the occupancy rate of 1 person per car. That leave more than 7 million free seats in Madrid every day. And this has a direct impact in the main big problems of the city, that's the traffic and the pollution. Facing these problems, Whoo proposed a solution which will connect drivers and passengers so they can share the empty seats of their everyday rides. And how we improve the mobility of the citizens in their daily lives. Very quite simple. We help them saving total travel time. We give them mobility adapted to their schedules and free them from car dependency. We also allow them to save in transport expenses and reduce up to 75% of the emissions due to the mobility. We also give them access to the car who can access to the mobility restricted areas like Madrid Central in Madrid. Here is the big opportunity for Whoo. As you can see, you only found mobility solution in the center of the cities, but in the peripheries, where you can find the large businesses areas and residential areas, and also where the public transport is not as optimal as in the center, you don't have, or it's very hard to find mobility solutions. And if you compare this map with the following one, you can see how we can bring solutions to the journeys from the center to peripheries, from the peripheries to centers, or from the peripheries to peripheries. Regarding the market, the carpooling market size, in Madrid you have 2.5 million rides every day, and if we assume that 1/3 of the rides are made by drivers and the other by passengers, we will have a market size of 52 million euros per year in a city like Madrid. Our business model is quite simple. It's the passenger pays to the drivers and we get a 10% of commission. And we recommend a 6 cents per kilometers. The average distance of our users is around 20 kilometers. Hoop, Hoop seeks to collaborate with companies, universities, public institutions, or strategic partners to acquire users. So we already collaborate with companies like Pfizer, Procter & Gamble, Indra, IKEA, ENG, with the main universities in Madrid, and with public institutions like the City Hall of Las Rosas. We have opened a new business line during the confinement that is Hoop for Hospitals, with a pilot test with the Hospital El Escorial, financed with for the European Community. And we also have a partnership with Universia, that is from Banco Santander, who give us access to more than 10 million students that they are distributed between Spain and South America. With this strategy, we want to create a community by collaborating with the key actors of the society in order to reach a common goal, that is reduce the mobility emissions and increase the human well-being through carpooling. In less than 4 months since we launched with only the new universities, we achieved these metrics, and we had more than 4,000 new registered users, more or less 400 trip shares, more than 2,000 published trips, and more than 10,000 search trips. In the end of the year, we want to achieve more or less 8,000 trip shared, and for that we are doing around an investment round of 100,000 euros with a premium evaluation of 1.4 million euros, and we have already 35,000 euros committed. We are a team very ambitious, and we are positioning ourselves in the right way for achieve our goals. So in 2021, we want to be in 4 cities. In 2022, we want to be in 10 cities, achieving more than 2 million trips shared. And in 2023, we want to establish ourselves in that 10 cities, achieving more than 10 million trip shares. The team of founders of Hoop cover practically the strategy, the strategic areas of the business. Our biggest part of the team is in the product, that we have more than 6 people working for full time. We also have help in the marketing department with 2 internship volunteers. And also in the business development, we have the help of Daniel Perez, that is a partnership manager. We have very specialized advisors that in different areas like impact businesses. Others are managers of big corporation, and others are successful entrepreneurs. In the investment, we have achieved an ENISA. It's a Spanish soft loan of 100,000 euros, and we have achieved an private investor investment with Epsilon Ecología of 100,000 euros. So thank you very much for having the opportunity for pitching in the Mobility Hub event, and it's always a pleasure to collaborate with you. And I will be pleased to answer every question that you have here, or you can write me in the mail that you will find in my deck.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Nathan, and right on time. So I got no complaints whatsoever. Really good. So whilst we're waiting for questions to come in from the audience, I had obviously there's one large one, which is the elephant in the room, which is COVID-19. I know you're focused on universities, so it's slightly, you're not so affected perhaps by the remote working, but obviously you're sharing carpooling, you're sharing a very limited space. The figures you put on screen were from November to February, which is obviously, we know why, but can you just explain, so what's happened since March and
with the COVID, the activity stopped totally in the application. That's the truth. But the thing is that with the COVID, we have a big opportunity, and that's because the people, we will have a change of the mindset of the people. The people will avoid the big crowds like the public transportation, and also will be more sensitive with the savings, like it happens in it happened in the 2008 crisis with BlaBlaCar, and that's a big opportunity because we see that we can give an alternative to the people, to the citizens, that they don't have to go to the public transports and have these big crowds. And during the confinement, we have closed a lot of agreements because of that, and because the different companies tell us that they don't want that their employees go in public transport to the offices, so they want an alternative for go, and a more secure alternative of mobility for go to the offices. And on the other hand, we close an agreement with an institution, a public institution, and sanitary institution, that is the hospital. We opened the new line that I said before of hospital for hospitals, and we have a very, very, very good answer with that. So we are seeing that the COVID is a big opportunity for the carpooling right now.
So you know, okay, that in theory that's all great, but what are the metrics? So take January, okay, so no COVID. Well, there was COVID, but no COVID in Spain. Really, not much in January, and take, I don't know, 15th of June to 15th of July, because obviously these things are changing by day.
No,
How is the usage of the app in comparing those two periods?
the thing is that all the collaboration that we are doing, we had during the confinement, and we are doing in the summer, are focused for launch in September, because all the company will launch in September with all the employees, and the employees will come back to the offices in September. And that's the same case with the hospitals. It's the same case with the universities. So we will see the results of this in September. But we have closed a lot of agreements that they want with companies or institutions, public institutions, that they want bring this solution in September. So we will see, and we will have in September much more companies that we had before the confinement, and much more universities. So we hope to have much better KPIs.
Okay, you didn't want to answer my specific question, but okay, no worries. So in terms of new users, I saw that you had about 1,000 new users per month. So independent of the trips, right?
Mm-hmm.
You had 1,000 new users per month from November to February. How many new users? So not trips now. Same question, similar question. Yeah. But how many new users have you been signing up over the last few months? I know you've been doing the collaborations, but how many specific users?
In the last month, you say, no?
In the last month, last 2 weeks.
Last 2 weeks. No, okay. The last month, maybe we have 100 user registered.
Okay.
More or less.
So you've dropped down to about 20% of where you were previous, which is completely understandable. Yeah. I'm not saying it as a negative thing.
We are don't do it publicity. We are focus all the activity for going in September. So what we have right now is organic users that are coming to the application.
Okay, cool. All right, well, there haven't been any questions for the moment, but stay on, and we'll see if any come in over the other presentations. And I'll now jump to, and I'm not going to pronounce the name correctly. Thank you very much. I'll say goodbye, and I'll jump to Bizwajit. I don't quite know how to present the name, so if I've done it wrong, I'm very sorry.
No, it's the correct pronunciation, Tom. So you got it.
Well, absolutely perfect. Well, there we go. So what I'm going to do is, if you could put on your, I'm going to add your screen in a second. That's it. Now you've got the presentation on. So I'll do the same. I'll leave you 5 minutes. I'll disappear off. I'll come back at 5 minutes, and we'll do questions. Okay.
Perfect.
It's all yours.
Thank you, Tom. Hi, everyone. First of all, thank you for your time. I'm Biswajit Kunduroy. I'm the founder and CEO of Nuvven, and we are here to drive the future of car rentals. Just to tell you a bit more of the background of why this is relevant, I think we heard from Whoo as well. The industry has really been shaken up, and a lot of new commuters are actually seeking alternatives to public transport post-COVID. So there is an opportunity for car rentals in this space to grow and compete. Now, for us, we are actually focused on the tier 2 and tier 3 operators, which constitute about 35% market share of the overall rental market. And the reason for that is these are the operators who really struggle to compete with the larger companies and incumbents, as well as struggle with a lot of paper-based processes and lots of inefficiency. And overall, this sector has generally been a laggard when it comes to technology-led innovation. So that's where we come in, and we want to work with the tier 2, tier 3 operators to create an economies of scale proposition that focuses on and leverages technology-led innovation. Now, just in terms of some of the customer demography we are focused on, these are the 3 different segments. We have holiday rentals or short-term rentals, which are kind of more commonly known. We have private hire rentals, who are also smaller operators and focus mostly on renting out to Uber drivers, etc. And then we have the corporate rental customers as well, who often are slightly mid-sized and offer rental services to businesses and other corporates. The market share is quite big, as I mentioned, 35% globally. Just to give you some anecdotal numbers, in the UK we have about 1,500 plus independent car rental companies. In Spain, we estimate there are about 2,000 of them. Across Europe, more than kind of 10,000, and US is also kind of a very fragmented market. So there's a lot of market share that we can play with, and typically most of these operators tend to have a fleet size of anywhere between 250 to 300 vehicles and an annual turnover of 1 to 2 million. Now, what are we really offering them? So Nuvven offers a connected ecosystem platform. And what I mean by that is we are putting together, obviously we have a core service which delivers booking management, fleet management, which is powered by IoT or telematics. And also we are creating a lot of automation opportunities through our data science and AI team. But we are also putting together some very competitive or innovative players in the market, especially around things like providing biometric security, providing digital payments, keyless entry, and then more kind of on the savings and economic scale benefits, things like integrated leasing and on-demand insurance, which I'll talk to you in a second. But the whole mission is to really help independent car rental businesses, not just being technology led digitization, but also helping them with economies of scale benefits that help them compete better or save on huge amount of cost. Now, our value proposition to them is, through the platform, they can save about 300 pounds per vehicle per year. So if they have a fleet of 100 vehicles, they can save up to 30,000 pounds a year just purely by using the platform and gain efficiency gain. There's also the increased utilization, 15 to 20%. And then through the on-demand fleet insurance, which we have recently won a Smart Grant Award from Scottish Enterprise, we want to actually leverage and monetize the data to work with insurance companies to provide a more pay-as-you-go AI-based solution, which will save them up to 20 to 30% on insurance, which is one of the biggest cost base. And then the final thing that we are offering for the future is we want to combine their collective inventory and offer that as a way of basically growing their business and tapping into new customer base in future. Now, just to this is a quick comparison with competitors on some of the features which I've talked about. As you can see, we are providing a more holistic set of features in one platform. Our key revenue streams would be the SaaS subscription, which would be effectively 15 to 20 pounds per vehicle per month for the operator. And then when we launch the consumer app, it would be 18 to 20% commission on bookings. And we'll have other revenue streams coming in from the on-demand insurance, leasing, and payments. Finally, just to talk about some of the traction we have had, we have seen immense growth. So we have grown from 100 to 1,500 vehicles in the last 2.5 months. We are seeing expecting a 500% growth in the next 12 months, and also increased revenue. We have made some great partnerships with Volkswagen Group, Lex Autolease, Elevon, and Callum, and we have made some immense achievements in the market as well, and voted one of the key players in the market more recently by the independent report. Finally, just to close off on the team, we have a great set of experience in the team with Rishabh, who's our head of technology and with lots of years of development. Lee comes from the fleet management world and has similar kind of knowledge in the market. And then I have a software engineering and management consultancy background. Just to close off, we have an aggressive growth strategy, and we are looking to raise 2 million in our next round. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. So again, just while we're waiting for some, sorry for having to cut you off before you could reach the end, but just whilst we're waiting for questions to come in. So there were some really interesting points. One I saw, you were talking about £300 savings per vehicle plus the additional utilization rates and whatever, and your cost in effect, it was sort of 240. So as a value proposition, your idea is that the cost, just the cost savings, and not taking into account the additional benefits, in effect pay for the cost of what you're providing. Okay, that's great. And then in terms of the newer business lines that you hadn't that you were talking about, so the data, you've talked about insurance, but
yeah.
You know, as soon as you start accessing the data and making advantage of the data, you've got everything. You know, everything from maintenance to preventative maintenance to everything else. And obviously the consumer app. Could you just sort of go into them in a little bit more detail? So the consumer app, for example, I've got no idea how much rental cars charges as an affiliate, in effect, for rental cars, and obviously the data, you know, to what extent your conversations have gone and what data you're actually getting at the moment.
Yeah. I'll talk about the consumer app first of all. So our kind of next phase of the roadmap is to launch a consumer app for corporate travelers, kind of early part of next year. And we are already in kind of conversations with some of our partners as well as some businesses. Now, what it really does is it taps into the spare capacity of our operators. A lot of them have utilization rates anywhere between kind of 65 to 75%. So you could naturally assume there's a 30% utilization that they're not able to address. Especially after COVID-19, it's one of the biggest demands from our operators because a lot of them rely on repeat businesses, and post-COVID, that has dropped by, let's say, 50%. So for them to find new customers is a big challenge. So there's an immediate kind of need for the corporate app or the consumer app. And we believe that through the kind of platform and the economies of scale infrastructure that we are creating, it will allow our operators to then grow back to normal operations and then grow with us as we grow our customer base on our side. So that's a whole idea about the consumer app.
Yeah, and then the data.
And then the data, yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so I mean, coming back to the other business revenue and the data monetization, what we are trying to tackle two key problems for the independent operators. One is insurance. So cost of insurance is very high for these operators because generally speaking, most insurance companies don't like insuring car rental companies because of exactly the point, lack of data or lack of controls. Our platform actually does both. It increases the risk management capability through telematics, immobilization, and keyless entry. And obviously the data insight around driving behavior, crash detection, predictive maintenance. All of those things help in improving the controls around car rentals. So that's immediately kind of interesting to insurance companies and leasing providers both. So we are actually tapping into that requirement from both of these markets to form some alliances where we can then work with insurance companies to deliver the on-demand insurance capability specifically focused on fleet insurance for our customers. And that way we can save them a lot of money because today, to just give you again some anecdotal numbers, in the UK, a lot of operators pay about £3,000 on an average per year on insuring a single vehicle. So if you have 100 fleet, you are paying 300,000 just on insurance. That's a huge sum of money. Similarly, on leasing, they don't have the scale and size to actually go and find the best deals in the market. Neither they are able to acquire vehicles at the pace they need. So again, through that kind of economies of scale benefits, and we are talking to Volkswagen Group about this, they're very interested to work with us, and Lex Autolease as well in the UK. We are creating kind of committed volumes, or we are talking committed volumes to those companies, and through that we are trying to offer the leasing prices at discounted price to our car rental operators. So all of these kind of various bits and pieces that we are pulling together allow us to create a more compelling and economies of scale offering that then we can take and create a big supply chain. And then with the consumer app, we start to meet the demand effectively.
Okay, cool. Just one last question. We're running out of time, and there's no questions coming in from the audience, which is a pity. But just one last question then. In terms of traction, so I'm afraid that the screen had a lot of text on it, so I was writing something down just as you were talking about the traction. So could you just give us a little idea of how many customers are currently using the system, and what the growth rate is?
Yes, absolutely. So before COVID lockdown, we were at 2 customers and 100 vehicles. That was in March. Over April, May, and June, we have grown up to 1,500 vehicles. So it's been kind of almost, I don't know what's the X number here, but a huge, significant increase. So all of these customers are we're on a trial period over the COVID lockdown period. And now they are like 50% of them would be converting in July. Already we have signed up a few contracts, and then the remaining 50% over August. Obviously, while that is going on, we are acquiring more customers and bringing them on a shorter trial period. So our estimated forecast is that we'll get to about 10 to 11,000 vehicles by March 2021. And we have a strong sales pipeline to prove that. In addition, just in terms of revenue, so we are looking at kind of a 10K MRR by end of August, about 20K by end of September, and so on and so forth.
And just one last question, then I'll stop it all. So these, when you jump from 100 vehicles to 1,500, I'm assuming that it was with the same 2 customers, because it would be very difficult to incorporate new customers during COVID, or were they new customers as well?
There are new customers there. Sorry, I should have been clear. We had 2 customers. Now we have 12. So 10 more customers came on board to constitute that 1,500. We are looking to grow up to about 35 customers by March 2021, which constitutes that 10K vehicles.
Brilliant, fantastic. All right, so I'm gonna take your screen now. I'll keep you there. Hopefully, people will be sending in questions during the other pitches for you, and I'll bring you back at the end.
Thank you very much.
Oh, sorry, I cut you off. Okay, so now we're going to jump to Alfred Chofer. Again, I can see that you've got the presentation on screen, so I'm just going to jump straight to it. Put you in, disappear off. I'll be back in 5 minutes. You're muted. You're muted. Unmute yourself.
Hi.
There you go. Sorry, I should have checked that before I disappeared off. Now I'll give you 5 minutes.
Okay. Well, here we are. We are Alfred. This is our motto. We are there when you need us. We would like to let you hear with a small video that tell you our inspiration. Well, there you can see he's looking for an Alfred. This is our motivation. So what I'm going to tell you, we have find a problem. First, we have medium and long distance trips that are longer than 1 hour, where the origin is farther from 20 kilometers from the city, where the taxis and VTCs are not a good option. due to the cost, availability, or trust. We have also vehicle maintenance management. We all know it's an unpleasant task. It's time-consuming, it's inconvenient, and costly. We also have the experience renting a car for between 1 and 9 days. It's a cumbersome, difficult process, and it usually has hidden costs when you go to the agency. And we have the rental and renting small and medium-sized companies. We have a stock of vehicles, and they are not generating any income. So where's our solution here? Democratization of the chauffeur service as a pay-per-use. So we take you in your car. We can take care of the maintenance. We provide you with the car that you need with an all-inclusive rate, and we are helping to give profit to the stock of small and medium-sized companies with those vehicles that are not renting now. How are we going to do it? Driving the client's own car to reduce costs and ensure availability, also automating drivers' tasks and routes for maximum occupancy. We are already doing it with types of consumers' cars, a maintenance schedule and process automation, also with close offers, all-inclusive car rental, and offering these small and medium-sized companies the basis maintenance and management that we have for their fleet that are not using, in addition to a sales channel that they do not currently have without competing online. Why right now? Due to the presumed increase in the use of private vehicles, we all know, because as after 2018 crisis, the people tend to extend the life of vehicles, and then more maintenance. We are there to serve aging population who have a car and want to continue moving in it, and for the greatest interest of companies in vehicle delivery service as ours, and also to increase the car fleets. Due to the increase of car fleets, from which is necessary to obtain a profitability. What makes us be the best option? Well, we have a variable cost from our drivers and also for the bases in airports and train stations. We are 24/7 service. We are there. We are comfortable and safest option. We already have a travel agency channel, the fine format to attract rental companies. We are not having cars, not having fixed costs, but we are working with different agencies, so we give a wider range of cars for the client, and we have a management software already which is growing and adapting according to the real demand of our clients. We have surveyed the market. You can see our TAM is 18,000 million euros, the SAM is 600 million euros, and our goal, our sum is 10,000 million euros. What is our business model? Okay, from each chauffeur service, we get commission between 20 and 35%. Also, the commission from the workshops and vehicle inspection is between 7 and 15%. We have our own services where the margins are between 17 and 30% to 25% if we are talking about cleaning or maintenance. And we are looking to get the rental management services. We are looking for a commission around 20% of each service. And we already have data of the needs of the client, so we can create these margins accordingly to the real market. Okay, what customers do we have already? We have a B2B market of 96% of our billing. We are looking to grow in the B2C market. We have already different ranges of age where we give different services. I would like to introduce to our team. They have experience. Adam created a valet service in 2002 in Madrid Airport. He has 23 employees, and it overcome the crisis of 2008. Last year, he make 800,000 euros, and we are a benchmark in the process innovation. On the other hand, we have Jacob. He created a platform for parking spaces in airports, ports, and train stations that is working with the travel agencies in that sector, working with 95% of them, with a turnover of 1-2 million euros last year. It's operating in Portugal, and the sale agreement of the company is paralyzed just due to COVID. Okay, last thing, where we are. We provide services in Madrid. We are starting the commercialization of specific services for individuals. We have an API for companies. We are negotiating to be in platforms already with services to drivers, and also in maintenance apps. We are negotiating the agreement to offer services to the rest of Spain and important and Portugal with local partners. And where do we want to get? Okay, we are searching for collaboration with independent workshops around the country. We want to increase the number of private users, not just B2B. We are looking forward to double them annually. We are looking to be in platforms for small and medium-sized companies of rent and renting that is already developed at 30%. We want to create a closed usage rate.
Sorry, I'm gonna cut you off because we were going. Oh, sorry, I took the wrong thing off. I took you off rather than the presentation. So listen. Again, I hope some questions will come in from the audience, but if not, I had a few questions. So one was, I understand that the services that you're providing are all provided by freelancers, and you're charging a markup in effect, or you're charging a margin on the cost that you're charging the end user. Okay, so your fixed costs are really very small. Is that correct? Okay, all right. How does pricing compare? So you talked about, taking a taxi from the airport or from outside of town into the center of town. How does pricing compare to using a taxi or an Uber?
As I mentioned, and I have Adam, the CEO here, that can give us precise details. But as I mentioned, when the travel is in this service, not the other service, in this service, when the trip is far from the city, or when it's a long route, we are actually cheaper than the taxis or PTCs. And mostly because we are the chauffeur, so we use the client's car.
Okay, but how much cheaper? It's really literally just from to get an idea of what the value added is for the end user.
Okay, más o menos la diferencia entre el precio
de un taxi nosotros,
sí.
En ciertas zonas de la Sierra de Madrid llega hasta un 50%.
Okay, if we go to the north of Madrid, it gets up to 50% lower if we go to the north region of Madrid, for example.
Okay, absolutely fantastic. And then I sort of, when you were, because you were going faster at the end, because I was hurrying you up, I saw that you had a CAC, if I'm not surprised, if I'm not wrong, of about 500 euros and a lifetime value of 10,000 on your B2B customers. Is that correct, or did I write down the figures incorrectly?
Yeah, los números. It's el CAC is 500 euros.
Yeah.
And in the B2B, and the other question, sorry,
was the lifetime value was about 10,000. If I'm not mistaken, it was 9,000.
9,000. We are talking about B2B, and it's a recurrent service. They really they have a high repetition rate. They call us quite a lot.
Yeah, but when we're talking about lifetime value, we're obviously talking about the margin, not the total market cost. Okay. All right, and you there were.
Hablando del margen o del total. En el LTV estamos hablando del margen o del total.
Eso es el total.
Okay,
la facturación total.
Yeah, this is the total.
Okay, so it's gross market value that you're the 10,000.
There we get a 30% margin.
Okay, well I wrote down 20, but okay, so actually it's 500 to 2,500, let's say. Mm-hmm. Okay, all right, and just one last thing from me, and then I'll let you go. So if I remember correctly, you had 10 B2B customers at the moment.
We have
and what's the growth rate been like over the last 6 months? We could say pre-COVID and post-COVID, and in the middle nothing. But
okay, I asked my boss here, Adam. So me pregunta que en los 6 meses antes de COVID y los 6 meses de COVID, ¿cuál es para el B2B, cuáles los ingresos?
Antes del COVID y después. Sí. Que si se han visto afectados.
No, ¿cuáles son los ingresos más o menos Antes y después de COVID.
Antes de COVID lo que ponemos ahí,
Ah.
después del COVID se han caído un 60%.
Okay, well, the numbers that you have in the presentation are pre-COVID, and after COVID, it's down by 40%.
Okay, I was more, it wasn't so much the income, I was more interested in knowing the growth rate, but that's fine, don't worry about it, the communication's complicated. So okay. What I'll do, as there are no questions coming from the audience, I'll cut it off here, and I'll bring on Arthur from Not. Thank you very much for the presentation, and I'll bring you back in a bit, okay?
Okay.
So, Arthur, I need you to share your screen. Sorry, you're not sharing your screen yet. If you could share your screen, and then I'll...
Let's do that. Share screen. Here we are. Hello. Application.
Sorry, I should have told you earlier in the chat. There we go. I can see it.
Okay.
Fantastic.
You can see it, yeah?
I'll disappear off and I'll come back. Yeah, we can see it. It's not on full screen at the moment. Yeah, now it is. I'll disappear off and I'll be back in 5 minutes.
Okie dokie. Thank you. Thank you for the introduction, Tom. So I'm Archie from Not, the co-founder of the company and CEO. We're building kick scooter sharing systems, and that's our product basically. So it's a station with scooters, with app, with fleet management system, with basically everything. So why do we go dock instead of going free floating? Because we know that free floaters are losing money, and that's not a surprise. The station is preventing again uncontrolled sidewalk occupancy, so that makes the city happy. It reduced the operational cost because we do not have jockey guys who is charging the scooter, since this is the user who is charging this. And plus, it's giving the 100% availability rate for the user. It reduced the vandalism dramatically. Actually, we do not have any vandalism, and that's also a part of the reason why we are financially optimistic on our business model. The environment is also safe with us, since the station is increasing the lifetime of the scooter. It's not 3 months like Bird. It's rather 2 years that our station and our scooter are outside. Plus, it's really getting solar autonomous solution, since the station can be equipped with solar panel. So our product and services, they're kind of easy to get. It's yeah, you got a picture here. So it is a station which is working with application, third application, Not application, managing thanks to fleet management system for the operators, who can be cities, business, scooter operators, and we're delivering the scooter as well. So it's a full package. It's a one-stop shop. The crew is kind of a bunch of engineers. So we integrate vertically everything. Basically, we do the software, the hardware, the electronic, the design, the website. Yeah, it's tailor-made. The business model is kind of easy to get. It's first, we're selling stations to cities, transportation operators, business, everyone who wants to go for scooter sharing systems. And then there is a connectivity. So it's basically going to Apple, buying an iPhone, and then going to Vodafone and getting a communication flat rate. So who is buying? This is cities who wants to run sharing scooter network. Business also who are co-crowding the network, as well as scooter operators. Depending on the topology of the customer, the one is having his own application, like the free floaters, and so they are using their own app and just using station and scooter from supplier. And cities, they want the full package as well as businesses. We're out in some places in Saint-Denis, Montrouge, Strasbourg. This is in France. We're working also in Belgium and Germany, also in Uzbekistan. Don't ask me why. That was a surprise for me too. And those guys here below, they're our gorgeous customer. If you're looking to invest in not, you can also invest first in the full company, the whole company, and you can invest only in some network because you're the guy who love your cities and you want to. That's it. Arrêtez le partage. Allez, c'est parti. So
and I'm back. Brilliant.
Yeah, I'm back.
Thank you very much. And it was here you. Brilliant.
Welcome.
So Arthur, I think really interesting. The Uzbekistan anecdote is great. It's not often that you come across European companies that are doing relatively
Actually,
well.
We're opening
Central Asia,
network in Russia.
Particularly Astan.
That's crazy.
Okay, cool. And I don't know, there were multiple things I thought was really interesting. But obviously the no vandalism is great. The order that it brings to cities is very interesting, because I know that's one of the largest headaches that they have. I think from a user perspective, I'm sure I'm not the only person that's had to been driving their car down the street and had to get out of the car, move a scooter that's in the middle of the road and carry on driving. But I was also very interested in the businesses, specifically from my point of view, because it sounds like a really interesting value proposition to businesses. So you had the cities, you had the scooter apps, and you had the businesses as your client base. What's the share of them in terms of revenues and maybe in terms of number of customers? Of your total revenue, what percentage is each type of customer?
Mostly we're selling to make the comparison, we're selling the shovel to the gold digger. And to cities also. So the gold digger can be the Lime and Bird and those guys who now want to jump into no more free floating only, but free floating plus station based, which is feasible with our solution. And on the other hand, the cities, they want to get rid of that unclean way of occupying the space, and they're really fed up with that. So they really want to implement our system. First, that was the question of is this kick scooter going to be used as a transportation means? And now it's no more a question. The question is how can be correctly used, and this is the answer that we are bringing to cities. That's it. It's something which is clean, which is organized, plus, and that's gorgeous, that have a business model, since we're earning money not only thanks to selling our station, but also thanks to the revenue of the user. So then cities love that. Obviously, everyone loved that.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. And in terms of total revenues, what are you at the moment, and what's your growth rate been over? I know, again, it's difficult to say because of COVID, but more or less to give an idea.
Actually, the COVID was a great stuff for us. People love deconfined transportation means, and with a scooter, you're outside. You're the only one on the machines. And that's good. That's fine. You're not encountering anyone. And since the lockdown went finished, then we doubled. No, actually, within the previous months, we did as much turnover as the previous year, the full year.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, well, that is very good news. I mean, that was one of the reasons why, when I was just thinking it from a user perspective, and I was thinking that the value proposition to businesses, obviously to cities, it's very clear, but for businesses, I think it's also really really clear. Okay. In terms of the total number of cities, I was guessing it was about 12 cities that you had a presence in. I was trying to count the circles, but I couldn't quite get the exact figure. Is it 12 cities or?
Exactly. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. In total, there's about 20,000 users, something like this, and yeah. How many scooters? A lot. Now, if I can remember correctly.
Okay, cool. That's quite funny. There's this game. I don't know if you've ever played Lumosity. It's sort of brain training game, and there's this game where you have to count the number of things very quickly that you just see on an image. And I'm very. It's obviously helped me, because just looking at the image, I was able to count the top. Okay, cool. I'm going to bring everybody back on screen. There haven't been any questions from the audience at all, which is very upsetting. But I'm going to bring everybody back on screen. If anybody has a question, this is the moment to make it, and I'll keep you on screen for about 30 seconds whilst we're waiting to see if there is any lag in doing so. I can see that there's still quite a few people connected, so you know, anybody that does want to make a question, this is your moment. And if not, well, what we'll be distributing the total session on social media, LinkedIn, etc. And then what we'll do is we'll cut up each of the videos, each of the pitches, so that we have, you can also, you know, we'll be distributing each of the pitches separately, and you can use it to send to potential investors or whatever. So just a reminder that to those that are connected still, that next week we're doing the session on the Tuesday at 12 o'clock, and the following week again on the 28th at Tuesday at 12 o'clock. And that if you want to sign up to the investor networking and the one-to-one meetings with the startups, that Andrea has put the comments in LinkedIn, the link. If you're watching on YouTube or whatever, I think it's in the post text. If not, I'll modify that for next time, and you can just go on to the connectedmobilityhub.com, and you can go into investor event, and there's actually a link to it down there. So no major issues. So guys, okay, still no questions. Very, very sad for that. But it does mean that at least you've answered all the questions that people might have, and I'll distribute you all the link as soon as it's uploaded and rendered and whatever on YouTube. So thank you very much for all being here. If you want to take any types of screenshots, now's the moment to do it. And I'm gonna disconnect us in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we're gone.